being 5:30 on Monday, May 17th, I will call this meeting to order. This meeting is being conducted over Zoom, video phone, as well as in person. Roll call vote, roll call. Ann Barty.
Here.
Alan Stilley.
Present.
Andy Fitch.
Present.
Bob Letourneau.
Here.
And Eli Badger is here. The first thing we have is a public hearing on Ashland Electric Department rate increase. Craig,
Yes.
what do you have to say about the rate increase?
Well, I'm glad we did it. Penny and a half. It went up. And I think we're gonna implement that in July or June.
Well,
June.
First was what?
as long as the billing situation was straightened out.
Yeah, okay. So, and that may be on its way. We did some readings with handhelds at least last month, well, 2 weeks ago. So that should help out tremendously in the office with the data entry part of it. I was informed by Andrew that went well, the upload went well today, so. But we should be on track with the rate increase as far as that goes, so. Other than that, it went up, we're planning on a penny and a half. It's,
Okay, and I hesitate to ask, but I will. How much extra money does that bring in?
was it 170,000 and change per penny? So I don't have a calculator in front of me, but.
$148, some change.
It's like 255 to me.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
255.
Yeah, 255,000.
Okay.
And that's just estimated. We don't know the exact numbers. I mean, Catherine couldn't give me the exact figure on that.
Well, it's gonna change month to month anyway without your usage.
Yeah, and it'll change, you're right, like. Brooke
Yes.
said, depending on what we bill out, it'll change.
What's the reason for the rate increase?
Well, we could ask you that.
Well, that's why, I mean, I'm sure people being a public meeting,
Mhm.
they're very interested in, it's really has to do with the infrastructure. There was some pole testing done, to show that, 15% of the poles are in failure state at a B and a C level to a critical. So the cost of poles, everybody knows the cost of lumber and poles, and, they're not going down, they're going up, and with the new treatment, environmental issues with poles. Never mind hardware, all the hardware is fiberglass steel, done with resin, done with aluminum. So the cost of aluminum right now, the cost of copper, if anybody's going to buy any kind of Romex for their home, wire used to be about $36 a roll. The average roll now is $76. And there's no estimate of it turning around. So, and the aging of this infrastructure, a lot of it has been used over the years, and little by little, a little maintenance been put into it, but the major piece of the infrastructure of this department is the substation. It starts right there. And the substation is working on, I'll say 35-year technology with the type of relays and protection systems and everything else. And this is why, right now you don't experience a lot of outages. But the problem with the outage that we're gonna have is, and there was an outage back a while, I don't know, back this winter, where the whole town went down. Luckily, there was a little bit of a contingency put in place to swap over. But if that contingency was not put in place prior to that, it would have been a costly and traumatic experience for this town for trying to find a portable substation to bring in here to back up that substation that's there. So there's a lot of testing, there's a lot of infrastructure upgrades, there's a lot of system protection that needs to be put in place. Due to the fact that once something operates somewhere else on the system, it's operating the whole substation. So if somebody experiences an issue on North Ashland, they should not see the blink up there on Levitt Hill. And that's what's happening right now. And, it's gonna take some good engineering. It's gonna take some good protection schemes to put in place to protect the system for any kind of catastrophe. And basically, it's like putting a penny behind an old glass fuse is what we've done right now from the old residential houses and stuff. That's basically what we've done. And everything has been getting a Band-Aid and the Band-Aids are running out. And, it's unfortunately, it's always $1 million catch up. Pay it now or pay it later instead of a little at a time. Well, the problem is we got to pay a little bit up front now, which is going to hurt, but what a plan would be put in place for a 5 and a 10-year plan. So it's not so costly. So you're not having a 10-cent increase, you're having a penny now to go ahead and attack the issues and the infrastructure issues to protect the system and the people of Ashland.
Mr. Cole, do you think that this will allow us to put money into one of our CRFs so that we can build up?
Yeah, there's gonna be a percentage of that money that's gonna have to be put away, and a percentage of that money that's gonna have to continue to go into the system over that 5-year plan. It's just determining, and as we're here tonight for some of this, will determine, what is that plan? What do we attack first? Some of it's going to be in multiple steps together for the outcome at the end. But we need to take a system that's still running in the 80s to bring it up to at least to the 20th century. So hopefully that answered your question.
It's starting to, yes. Do we have other questions?
I'm good. All set.
Is there any other questions about the rate raise? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Moving on. We have a representative from Eaton Electrical Management Solutions. Let me see, let's make sure that I get the right person. Are you
E98.
E98? It's not letting me minimize that. Just go ahead and do what we can.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Karsik. I'm with Eaton Corporation. Thank you for having us here today. I don't know why that one did that. So we're here to talk about our Eaton Smart Grid solution for AMI, automatic meter infrastructure, and why it's in Ashland's interest to do this and consider it to help with accurate meter reading now and in the future, and also to broaden out the options that you have with the various smart grid type of accessories and applications that are coming out. Something that I want to ask all of you is if you're familiar with your system and how it actually works. So every house, every business in Ashland has a meter on it. And that meter is used for billing to provide revenue to the town. And that meter also has electricity that everybody uses, and you meter that electricity. And the way that you go about today to do your billing and do your revenue is you send someone around to each and every meter, and you read that meter, and you write it in a book, and you take that book and you bring it back to the ledger, and they bring it into a billing system and billing software, and then the bills are generated. And I believe that everybody gets a bill here every month, right? And you do this every month. And you have 1,633 meters that you do each and every month. And if you take 6 minutes to read each meter, walking from place to place to place, that allows you to do 10 meters an hour, allows you to do 400 meters a week, allows you to do 1,600 meters in a month, and 160 hours of manpower to read the 1,600 meters, taking only 6 minutes a meter. Just something that I kind of got into thinking about what you're doing. So you basically have pretty much a man year of someone just going around and reading meters to write down all the numbers. And that doesn't even include transferring that into the ledgers in the system and going into the billing system from there on out. It's the accuracy, you know, and there are some things to consider with that now. You know, you're walking on people's property. Do people like that or not like that? All of that. In 1974, AMR came out, automatic meter reading. And that was when you could take a handheld or a drive-by, and you could drive by the meters and get that. 1974 is when we started that, 46 years ago. And your system predates that and how you do it manually. So I think we're getting to a point where it's time for an upgrade. You have certainly gotten all of the best cost and everything out of this system that you can. And it's time to start getting ready for the future. We have EV vehicles coming out that we're going to want to know things about, all types of things. Outages that you have now, you find out about your outages because people call you. Hey, I'm out of power. The new system will tell the electrical folks before they even call that there's an issue with that. So anyway, Eaton's approach is we do all of our business with municipals and co-ops and public power. We're not big into IOUs on the AMI system, where some other guys are into these 100,000, 200,000 million meter companies. We basically work in the smaller area. That is our focus, and that's all we'll do pretty much from an AMI point of view. So the way we look at this, and Eaton has set this up, it's one smart grid platform. It's delivered and supported by one company, Eaton Corporation. And we have, it's like, you know, see, it's like a pie chart, and you pick the slices of the pie that you need or want for your system. Unfortunately, Dan Scrimmer was going to be here to present. He could not be here tonight because he's got a medical emergency at home. I'm Dave Ofkarsick. I'm the senior sales engineer. I live in Massachusetts. I cover all of New England for utilities for Eaton Corporation. A little bit of background. I've got 42 years experience in the electrical. I'm an electrical engineer, and I've been in New England my entire life as far as working on this General Electric first, Cooper Power Systems, and now Eaton Corporation. Jim Roche, who has been on some calls and emails before, is as our AMI marketing manager, who's out of Minnesota, which is where our group is located. So what we start taking a look at on Smart Grid AMI project objectives is we have a true two-way system. And the system that you have now is one way. You go and you get the data, you bring it back, you do it, and all you can do is billing and what energy usage is. And it's in an aggregate. Each time you do that reading every month, that's where you get your your information. And that's about it. What our system is going to allow you to do is improve those operational efficiencies, because you're not going to be using a person to go read meters all the time. We're going to be going out and querying the information and bringing it back to do those reads. You're going to increase the productivity of your customers, because you're going to be able to help them discuss what their energy usage is. And are there ways that they can save energy? Are there ways that you can work together, Ashland and the community, of saving energy or using it more efficiently, so that you can keep your rates down, but also increase the productivity in the town? You're going to have the ability to empower your members to view, understand, and manage their usage, to see how they're using their power. And as things move forward, electricity is becoming more and more important with all of the smart things that are coming. Our computers, electric vehicles, everything that goes with that. And at the same time, you'll be able to better manage the utility supply costs, the supply of what it's costing you for power, because you're going to see exactly where it's being used throughout the system that you have in the big picture. And then you can get right down to granularity as to individual meters, if that's what you need to do, which will also help you improve the reliability, the power quality, and customer satisfaction. Like I said, you're not going to have customers calling you about outages. You are going to know that you're having an outage. You're also going to know about planning, where there are areas in the town that, wow, the power is being used a lot. I'm overburdening the lines, and we need to make upgrades. Or there's other areas where, from a development, business development, geez, we've got excess capacity here. This would be a great place to have a business come in, because we don't have to do an upgrade to put that business in. We've already got that capability there. And what it really does is it's positioning the town of Ashland for the future, because there's going to be, you got to start being able to provide information to the customers of Ashland and what's going on, and also information for your own utility as maintenance, upgrades, problem areas, all of that. So one of the things that we talk about is our system is very simple. It's easy to install, operate. One of the things that was a request, which is an option, is we also provide anywhere from 1, 3, 5, 7, or 10-year financing, if that is something that is considered, you want to consider, but we don't have to. We guarantee the system that it will obtain all its meter reads, and that the infrastructure will cover everything that you need for the system to thrive now and as you expand. All of our systems are backward compatible. Basically, our EAS group has been around since 1987 and has continued to grow. And the AMI piece is just we've actually had our AMI piece out since started in 2005, fully out and deployed since 2008. So, and it just continues to grow and get better. And we have upward and downward compatibility with that system. It's smart. It provides electric meter reading, gives you accurate engineering information, and is also set up for future smart grid applications. You're probably going to be looking, I saw the Tesla charging stations at the Dunkin' Donuts, and that's a town resource and something that you're going to probably are monitoring or getting information on. Well, you're also going to get to a point where you're going to start having individuals, if you don't already, they're going to be charging at home. And you're going to want to know when they're charging. And part of that is with peak, okay? And just from experience of what we know for the systems that we're doing, we're seeing the peak change because of the EV vehicles, okay? And that is something that you might have to manage to keep your peak down so that you're not paying extra utility charges in the bulk. And so having that engineering information where we know in the aggregate where the peak is and where it isn't, how it changes month to month, all of that, winter or summer, is going to be very important. And you really aren't doing that now. You take a quick snapshot and then you go. With this, you'll know all the time as to what's going on. And that may create information for you for doing tiered rates and all of that. I was here, I heard about the rate increase, and that's very near and dear to people's hearts. So there may be some folks that with different types of businesses that you can offer tiered rates in the future, but you don't know if you don't have any of that information. This will help you look at that and be able to make that determination. And then again, something that's safe. Long relationship with a financially stable company, Eaton. We are a $20 billion company, Fortune 500. And we, from a warranty point of view and everything, we warranty all of it, and we handle all of that warranty. Local representation, myself right here in the New England area, and also a local installed base with other accounts. And then the other thing, very important today, is we meet all NERC, SIP, and FERC requirements from a security point of view. We just saw what happened just recently with Colonial, and that's really front and foremost for us. And Eaton, being a global company, we have to have that ourselves. You know, we're out there with all the applications that people can access. Security, online security, is very important to us and our customers. So a quick thing on Eaton overview. I just, again, you've got 97,000 employees worldwide, we're down from 22 billion because of the COVID piece and actually getting rid of our lighting group. But we are ranked among Fortune magazine's most admired company, most ethical company. Just some things where you get concerned that, oh, there's a big corporation. How are they? This is the type that we get recognized every year for this, and being green and actually going to zero emissions and everything that goes with that. It's not just about, and Eaton, we help the world use electrical power and manage it. And that is really what Eaton is all about in everything that we do. So what I'm going to have here just real briefly is, this is what I kind of talk about the pie of Eaton Energy Automation System and what we do. You see one part of it right there where we do smart metering. Yukon software is our platform that allows us to do everything around that. Smart metering, demand response, distribution automation, substation automation. You're talking about a substation upgrade. It's the capability of being able to get information from the substation that's tied into that. Instead of having many different systems, you can have one system. In the smart metering area, we have over 300 customers with 4.5 million meters. Yeah, no, I should have known. This is a list of our users, and the ones in red are local. Groton, Mass. These are all municipals. Washington Electric Co-op up in Vermont, Norwood, and then Griffiths in New York, Reading, Sterling, Hudson, and Templeton. They all have this system there. All of these other ones are other companies throughout the United States, other utilities. If you noticed, none of them are IOUs. They're all these co-ops and public power. So again, we've had over 50 new smart grid networks in the last 24 months. We continue to grow, roll it out. And really what it is that we have the best value for the dollar of what's going on out there. A lot of companies end up where they get an AMI system, but then they get a separate demand response system, a separate substation automation system. And now you've got all different companies that you have to deal with. With Eaton, part of that pie is we're able to integrate all of it, and we do. And it's not that you have to get all of it, but you have the option that you can. And we're there for you for that. Some of the newer stuff that's coming in is one of the big areas that's starting to happen is where we're starting to look at smart energy breakers. So you can start taking a look at some areas where you have an electric meter on the house, but you want to control electric vehicles. You may want to control air conditioning. Some people ask, oh, does it have to be separate meters? Well, sometimes, no. We can go with smart breakers and do that. We're really the only ones that are doing that. So in that regard. We're into the solar farms, we're into the EV. We just bought an electric vehicle charging company. And really what I'm just trying to show on that last one was the breadth that we have, the depth. This is going to get busy fast, but on the left-hand side is basically all of the types of back office things for you to consider that you may be using now or may need to use in the future. So we can take all of those, and we do, and we bring it into our Yukon system. So from our Yukon system with the AMI piece, we can go out into billing, we can go out into SCADA, go into prepaid. That's something else that's starting to, a lot of folks want to prepay their electric. Use like a credit card and they prepay it up front, so they're getting billed. We're starting to see that a little bit. But you can also take the data from AMI and bring it into planning software, all those type of things. You'll see these little locks that we have. That's basically the security that's all built in all of that. The other thing with the Yukon is at the bottom, there's a consumer portal. And that is something that now people are starting to say, hey, what's going on with my electrical system? How am I using this on a daily basis, hourly basis?
Finding that a lot with the cars now. Finding that a lot of people, because they're gonna start offering credits. For those who are buying these cars and going green, you know, it's tied to the solar, it's tied to the vehicles. And they want to be able to have a report to look at what they're using and what's causing the demand on the house and what the difference between the home electricity and that vehicle.
If you have people that have multiple businesses or apartments, the consumer portal, they can aggregate all of that together so they can see their total electric costs for all of their properties and also break it out. It's something else that sometimes they want to know. And then we go from the Yukon software and we figure out a way of how do we start getting that data back from the field. And this is basically just saying that we can do Ethernet radios, we can do fiber, we can do cellular, you can do cable modems, whatever it is that gets integrated back, whatever we need to use, whatever you have available. Our big device is our gateway. And that's basically, we take all of the meter data and we bring it back to a gateway. And then from the gateways, we bring it back to the Yukon system. And then on the extreme, obviously all of these here are homes. And then we have multiple meters that we have available. And so you get your meters from the various businesses. We are different in that we don't make a meter. We use other meter manufacturers' meters. If you're with an AMI system of a single meter manufacturer, you're tied into that group of meters that they have, which is 2, 3, or 4. Us, we have at least 8 meters that are available to us from 3 or 4 different manufacturers. It allows flexibility for the utility. It also allows the ability from a competitive bid process of choosing and getting good pricing for the features that you want. It also helps out that if there's a shortage or a problem with one manufacturer, you have a backup manufacturer that you can go to and use meters. And you have options. And sometimes the best residential meter from one company does not have the best commercial meter. And you have that flexibility and that choice to do that. And we tie all of those in. Along with that, we also take responsibility for that. We provide those meters and they're installed. We handle the warranty of those. If there's a problem with that meter, it comes back to Eaton. You don't have to go to the meter manufacturer. We'll do that. Also up there, what you can't see is we handle things like thermostats at the home and Zigbee type stuff and all of that. It also gets integrated in. And then also with the Yukon down below, we're able to pick up infrastructure of your utility system itself. It's out on the pole. Reclosers, regulators, cap banks, substation information. Not that you have to do that, but it's available. You don't have to go outside to a third party to do that. You can stay with us to do that. And we integrate that all the time. We provide our own relays and controls, but we use everybody else's too. So we have to be able to do that. Eaton has their own relays and stuff, but they use a lot of others also. The mesh, we do a mesh network. So basically we have gateways. And for this system here, it's 3 gateways. And the gateways provide redundancy. And also if a gateway goes down, you don't lose your system. Also included, we have a spare gateway that's sitting there ready to go in the shop. So something happened. Could be a storm, could be someone hitting a car, hitting a pole. You never, but the redundancy is there. We operate on the 900 megahertz. We have 50 channels available. The most really what this is the most throughput, the best value from a power optimization point of view, because we have variable transmitters. In other words, sitting right here next to you, I don't need to yell, but outside across the street, I would need to increase my volume. That's basically how these transmitters work. And industry leading data transport on how we do all of this. And security is built into everything that we do so that it can't be breached. That's how important we have everything going on now. We designed a system with less than 30% network capacity utilization that allows you growth in the future without even having to change the system.
That's a lot of growth.
Mm-hmm. And if you ever outgrew that, all you would have to do is add a gateway or 2. That's so basically how it does is you put in your gateway. Well, first of all, you install your Yukon software system. We do a propagation study that tells you where the gateway should go. Then we meet with everybody and we confirm that those are good spots for the gateways geographically. And then we install the gateways and we get them up and running. And so we're like, okay, we got gateways. And then at the end of a building cycle, we work with everyone and we determine where we're going to start to change meters. You do your final meter read, you pull that meter out, and you start to put the new meter in. And the new meter starts collecting data right off the bat. And then as you start putting more and more meters out, they just kind of send information out and says, hey, is anybody out there? And they start to kind of make a connection, a mesh. They're not sharing any data. They're not giving up any, they're just making a connection and they create this mesh. And they create a primary path back to the gateway and a secondary path back to the gateway, all on their own. They all do it themselves. So it's all encrypted, each one's unique. And they start to fill up this mesh and then they continue to organize and they find their way back to the gateway. And we have hops. We can tell the hops on each meter. We can tell the hops in the gateway. We can see all of this information. And if you were to lose a relay or a meter, it finds its own way back. The ones that got interrupted will find its own way back. So it's always self-healing, self-optimizing. And if there is a building or something that gets in the way, they'll go around it and find their own way. With other systems, you have to tell the path. They're going from this path to this path. You line that path out. And then if things change, you have to redo the path. Not with this one. And there will be, we can mix and match the takeout points. No one says, well, this area's got fiber, so it's good, but this area is cellular. Doesn't matter to us. We'll pick up those points and it just handles it and does it and finds the best path back. And then we add another gateway. Oh, you can't see it because it's under the block. We add another gateway, and if that path becomes easier the other way, those guys will reconfigure, those meters will reconfigure and go back. This is a listing of the meters that we currently use with the RF mesh. And you can see that they're not ours, they're others manufacturers. We are on the committees for all of these, where we're one of the largest users of their meters. And we're on their committee as to upgrades, what's being done production wise, where we have slots and everything squared away. And this allows us flexibility with our customers that have preference of one meter or another, that we can provide those meters and all of that. Like it says here, we have contractual agreements with all of them. Greater than 10-year relationships with all these vendors. But it also allows you to choose your preferred vendor. And sometimes discussions that say, well, Eaton, what do you guys think? Well, this is what we like and what we're using and what's going on. So, and we're also, for our single phase AMI, this is information that we provide, and you're really not getting, the only thing that you're getting now is kilowatt hours from the meters. We now go down and we start showing you what voltage is, recording what voltage is. We have temperature information on the meter and what's going on out there. We have tamper indication. That's something that you don't really have now. We know if someone takes a meter out of one place and goes and brings it over to another place and swaps meters that way, we know that. We know that if you take a meter out and you try to turn it upside down and put it back in, we know that. So as soon as someone pulls a meter or something like that, we know that because we lose that meter in the whole list, and we're like, hey, what happened? And if the meter shows up someplace else, we know that too, because it's like, wait a minute, that meter's over here, not over there. So that's where the tamper piece comes in and all of that. We get outage information. We know when there's an outage, we know when there's restoration. We know that if there's blinks, sometimes folks call and they say, hey, things are weird. My lights are blinking, or this is happening, or I feel. We can go back and we can look at all of that. And a customer service person can go back and look at all of that and get all of that data as to what's happened or not happened. So we know. Again, outage duration logs to help you with your various numbers, reliability numbers. We can handle all of that.
You're talking about saving.
Saving, yes. We do bidirectional metering. Those that have solar on their house or wind, and they're looking for that. We do that with that meter, and I'm able to do that. Time of use. Bakeries, they get a better rate because they're working at midnight to 4 a.m. You need help, you can give them a better rate because you still get that power, but you're not really using it. There will be time of use type of applications that will come up. We've seen it down in Massachusetts. Farms, they get a time of use rate. Their rate during the day is like everybody else, but their rate later at night, early morning is a better rate. And it helps the farmer, keeps them there, keeps them going, those type of things. EV charging, the time of use rates. They come in and they plug in right at 5 o'clock at night. That is not the prime time that you want all these electric vehicles really plugging in. That's a high use rate for dinner, for people coming home from work. We probably want to move them to 10 o'clock. Well, you can do a time of use rate that, hey, if you charge your vehicle at 10 o'clock or later, we'll give you a better rate because we have that capacity there. For people that have EVs, you charge during the day, it could possibly be a higher rate, that type of thing, depending on where your peak is. Those are things we have to consider and where it's going to. And you don't think much about it until you get a whole lot of electric vehicles coming in. You want to serve them, and you want to serve them well with high quality power and all that, but it'll give you that information. So temperature information helps us whether or not we have a meter that's overheating. Could be the box. That is, we have a problem with the jaws or something like that. Gives us indication. We have power factor that's on here too, and all of that. So we know everything we're getting a lot of really good data that we can use.
the power factor will help for the future of the systems integrity and protection schemes is where we're gonna need to know that power factor for what we have potentially for fault current and all of those, so we can do that correctly. Right now, it's kind of, you're relying on where we're buying it from and really what is the relays performing as, but they're mechanical. There's no data that we're collecting from them. It's on or it's off. So,
Yeah, with power factor now, when you have some locations that have poor power factor, that hurts your usage as far as your, the rate should be different.
Right.
And or just going in and saying, hey, we need to talk and do some improvements of your place so you have better utilization of your power.
and it's not just big businesses on that power factor. We could have a network center here in town that we don't even know about in somebody's home now with all these home businesses. And computers will really raise havoc with the harmonics and then back into the power factor. So, it's not just because it's a big business. It can be funneled down to, home businesses and things like that. Right now, we have no way of knowing.
No. You have experience in specific in Ashland, that's great. You have some options for some remote disconnects if you need them for like vacation places, Some places you may shut down in the winter, they winterize them and you pull the meter on them. You have to send someone out there. Now you could do that remotely, those type of things, and reconnect. So
You still charge for it. It's still a charge because it's still a service. So it's just, we're being much better time managed by being able to offer. It's a service it could be offered, and it's a time management thing now.
this is retrofit kits just to show you that we do our boards in these other meters. We can retrofit some existing newer meters, a number of the meters that you have. So I don't want to try to give you any false hope. And we are, looking at all new meters. So what we're trying to show is that the depth and the breadth of what we're involved in with everything that's going on. And then this is a big thing on all of polyphase. We do everything that you can think of on polyphase meters with everything. And really, I think the big thing is that it's full auto ranging from 120 to 480 volts setups. And the other thing with these meters is we do, you can change them. You can change the meter software and profile online. You don't have to go out and pull a meter and put a different meter in like you do now. We can do that over the air and do that type of thing. The other thing with the meters and the capabilities that you have here is, let's say you have somebody that's leaving and they want to pay their bill for the final time. Today you go and you send someone out and it does a meter reading, come back and you pay the bill. Well, in the future, what the person will do is a customer service person, and it may even be through a call, will go and call up that meter and push a button on the screen and do a read. And it'll come back, it'll give you that read, and they can do a bill for that person right then and there. They can pay the bill and leave, know that they're done. And then when the next person moves in or whatever, there you have it. So makes it a lot easier, especially with inclement weather or anything going like that you do remote. Same thing with this is customer service can query that if someone's having a problem with a meter or they call about it, you can go and you can take a look. If someone has a discrepancy where, wait a minute, my monthly usage and my bill is much higher than what I'm used to paying, you can go in and query those last 30 days, even further back. But you say, okay, I'm going to look at that last billing cycle, and you can tell them specifically, this Friday night and this Saturday time period is where we see this big increase. Did you have something going on there or whatever? It's like, oh my goodness, you're right. I had a big graduation party with everybody over. Well, there's, but what is it? It's a service. Well, okay, I feel better now. I get it. So that's really what we're doing. Anyway, so that's basically all I have from the presentation. And I'm willing to answer any questions that you might have. Our system is a fully set up system. We're hosting it instead of you hosting it here, right? We're doing the hosting at a remote site for it. So you would just come online with a computer sign in, put in your password, there's multi-layers of passwords. I didn't get into all those details. There's tons of details, technical details that we can get into. I didn't want to do that. But it's basically a complete system with all new equipment, ability to finance. You know, we have a lot of systems that are going in right now and continue to go in. So anyway, thank you. I'll take any questions that anybody might have.
Don't everybody jump at once.
So the uniqueness of the system is that what's nice is it can be tailored based on starting off with 4 characteristics that the meter does. And then as the system, as we grow in the technology can grow with the metering to help support that.
Yes, yes. We have some folks that are just very basic, regular metering. And then they add an EV charging vehicle. We've just seen this recently.
Would you turn off your Zoom? See if I can get back to control.
We'll talk with you about when we do that, but we handle all of that. So really, it's just your folks will be trained, and there's different. So you have like a customer service person, billing person that's going to be interested in their areas. You're going to have linemen and other utility workers that are going to be interested in their piece from how the quality of the power is and how the system is. And you may, from a management point of view, start thinking about planning aspects. Where do I need to start in doing infrastructure improvement in the system? This will help you with that as to how usage is. You may have some areas that say, yeah, I think I'm good, but oh no, you're not good because we're using power there like crazy, and we should be looking at a plan to upgrade that area. The wires and all of that type of thing. The other thing that's going to be when obviously outages will come on the computers and stuff, but when there's outages will also go to the guy's smartphones. So whoever's on call and all that, smartphone, he'll find out right off the bat, oh, this meter went down, and if it's a group of meters because of a storm, a tree or something like that, they'll get the notifications of. And so the good news on that is, instead of waiting for calls to come in from customers, you already know that you've got an outage and you're rolling your truck, and you're going to it.
It must be easy to pinpoint it.
Well, the other thing is there's a map. So we provide a map. So we have your topography of Ashland already. And we have, by the locations, we have dots. So that's how we do our study. We have all the dots of all your meters. And that tells us where we need to put our gateways and stuff. Well, as you roll everything out, when the meters are fine, these will all be green dots. And you can see the whole town, and you can see with your green dots and your red dots. And then you can go and zoom in, and you can query and note, and you go over that little dot, that green dot, which is the meter, and it'll tell you exactly where it is, what's going on, whether it's good, whether it's out of service, all of that, and you'll know. So the other thing that's nice about it is with the maps and stuff is you'll see an area. If an area goes out, you'll see a bunch of red dots, and you'll know exactly where to go.
Or phase, there'll be phase relation too. So if we lose one phase, we'll know that it's on a phase
Right.
on Winterbrook Road or something, because there'll be scattered red dots.
Right.
So that's the other
Yes.
thing that.
Yep.
So we'll tell you phase base also.
And by us marking it down what phases these are going in, we know what the loading is.
That's right.
We know the loading of each phase. So that's the other thing that many times is you'll have folks that remember really well how to phase A, phase B, phase C, and rotating and doing that. But if someone new comes along, they don't know if you're balanced or not. This will tell you, oh, I'm putting on a new service. What phase should I be going on? And you can see overall balance, it's not a big deal. If we're off balance, we got, let's say phase C is lightly loaded, you're going to want to, utilize phase C to have a better balanced system and all of that. So, yes.
Bob, can you hear us yet?
Oh, I can hear you fine.
Okay, so now you can ask your question.
Oh, good. Thank you. And is the gentleman's name David?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I've looked over the quote to the town, and nowhere on here did I see anything about training for the folks down at the town hall. They're gonna be doing the billing. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yes, we do. We do all the training that you want or need. We come to your site. It's included with the project management and everything. So whatever is that you want, we come back as many times as you want. It's just a continual aspect of that. We also do a lot of training with WebExes and like team meetings and showing things that way. It's really whatever is, and we do separate type of training where we'll do it for like the linemen, we'll do it for like the customer service, for billing and all of that. So
Yeah, and that makes total
it is
sense.
all included,
I didn't
and
see it.
it's not
Oh.
limited. It's not limited to really any, oh, it's only 5 days. No, not at all. If we have to come back 50 times, we'll come back 50 times.
Thank
Because
you.
we also know that if you're comfortable and happy and confident with the system, then you're hopefully comfortable and happy with us. So as an organization.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Last year was a little harder with COVID for traveling. This year, all of my project managers and project engineers, they came out last month. They're coming out this coming month for the various accounts. They can't wait to get out into the field, so.
Hopefully they're all vaccinated.
They're all zoomed out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here you are, Alan.
I think I saw Ralph. I'm sorry I'm not there. I didn't know it was being held here.
It's okay. It's okay. Any more questions for David?
You were talking about the lead time on the meters, which I know what it is, but go ahead.
It's running 16 weeks right now, 16 to 20 weeks on resis and commercials.
Okay, come on, work.
It's a challenge out there right now on everything.
For everything, yeah.
Yes.
But, with a piece of this, decisions have to be made on what do we want them to perform as? What information do they need to deliver back? And then what meters do you actually want to use based on some of the recommendations and some recommendations through the industry?
Probably what we would do in this situation now with things opening up and what's going on in the age of the system, I'd bring a project manager out here right away and sit down and have a meeting and go through and see what we've got and make those decisions personally with you. And our guys know also what most of the utilities use and need, so they know what questions to ask also. I don't know if you'd be involved or not.
Well, it's maybe. It all depends.
So, but whomever, we would.
Right. But I think, maybe like a team, like, select people, elected people, consultant and Eaton, and they compile this information to say, this is what meets the town of Ashland
Right.
electric and utilities needs right now, and then this is what we want. We want to see what the future will
Right.
bring and have those prepared.
The other thing that's good about our system is you may not use everything right now, but it's there.
Right.
And you don't have to buy and add. We just turn things on for much of it, We didn't buy an EV charging company in a provider of EV chargers and the system and all that because EV is going away. It's like we see, and this is a part of an integration piece, and it's not just, you have to integrate the Eaton EV piece. No, not at all. We're here to integrate everybody, Teslas, whoever's it is. That's just part of a piece of the integration that we do. That's the other thing. We basically are agnostic on all of this. It's really what we're trying to say on it. That we can integrate anybody's.
Solar is going to be driven hard.
We're seeing it already, like you wouldn't believe. Solar,
Well-
And
We're gonna have to start thinking about net metering.
this is where voltage, so voltage was never a big deal with meters before. Now voltage is becoming a big deal because if you have clouds coming through solar banks that are close into residential sites, you're gonna get voltage drops at individual residential meters that you have to plan for, be prepared for. We're starting to see that more and more because of all of the solar arrays that are going out there and all that.
You can't just think this is just Ashland, it's small. It's coming. And these providers of these solar companies are becoming very aggressive. The systems, it's like buying a flat screen TV. I remember 15 years ago, only the rich people got a flat screen TV. You go to Walmart now, buy a 56 flat screen TV for $220. Solar is coming that way.
Yes.
It is
So-
definitely coming that way.
We have a 3,600 meter application, and 5 years ago, they had 2 inputs from National Grid into their substation of power. That was it. That's how their town was fed. They now have 2 from National Grid, 2 from their own solar, 2 from their own battery storage, and they've got about 25 EV charging, and they've got 25 residential EV sites that they're all looking at. So just something that was 3,600 meters within a period of 4 years went from 2 to, we gotta be talking 50, and it's just gonna get worse, not worse, but just bigger and bigger that they're looking at.
So where the town of Ashland's wells sit for their water is a fantastic site for directional sun. And we could even do a tracking system for the sun for future grid modernization.
So,
It's a great spot.
and so this system allows that, and then we also have SIGN, which is a power systems. You can do modeling. That's the big thing that the SIGN Power Studies Group is doing, is they're modeling now all of this distributed generation. It's DER, distributed energy resources. It's everywhere. It's coming out. Years and years ago, it was water, right? At the mills for your generating, you had all these little hydros. Well, now it's all these little solar and battery. And EV charging at times could also help. If you had all these cars that were sitting at home that were charged, you could use them for voltage support suck the power out of the batteries from them real quick.
Oh, wouldn't that be pleasant?
And then charge me again.
Well, so all I'm trying to say is, as part of the study
Yeah.
that the federal government is doing,
Oh, yeah, it's a,
for voltage support with breakers, they're saying that we could just for a minute or two take that power from them, and then right after the event, voltage sag, we just put it back.
okay.
The dynamics is just becoming, it's coming. It's not here yet, but it's coming fast.
I thought you said just a minute ago that the government sucked, but but it was just about electricity, right? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
very much.
that's wonderful.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Uh,
Will you send that presentation to us?
Yes. I'll email it to Craig.
I'll get it out to you. If I didn't already, it hasn't, I might have already sent it to you guys. It hasn't changed since the last time, right?
Just a better presenter.
Right. You're being recorded. So
The survey will come with that email.
I will make sure everybody gets a copy.
Okay. Sidewalk bricks at the Common Man. Craig, you're up
I
again.
think that's right.
Okay,
Well,
we got a letter, we got a heads up about a letter that was actually sent over a year ago from Alex Ray to Charlie Smith, and it said, "This letter establishes my awareness of the repaving of the sidewalks in front of the Common Man Restaurant at 60 Main Street, where there is currently a stretch of sidewalk made of brick purchased and laid by me many years ago. I understand from our conversation that the state will not allow the bricks to remain. As we discussed, I support the town and our state's removal of the bricks along the stretch of sidewalk in front of the restaurant and placed and wrapped on pallets at no cost to me. I will have the pallets of my bricks then moved to another location." So this was something that we need to figure out how to make happen.
Appreciate it.
It's probably at some cost. I'm not even sure who can do it. Craig, do you have any thoughts?
Well, talking with the contractor, of course, that can be ripped up very easily with a skid steer.
Right,
We can rip it up with our loader.
right.
But when he gets down to the nitty gritty of it being picked up by hand and wrapped on a pallet, that's when, that's all tedious handwork.
Mhm.
It's gonna take a long time if we do it. I mean, that's all picking them up one by one.
Mhm. Is there anybody we can hire to do it?
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
sure we could hire somebody.
Okay.
I could
Well,
get
the
some
board
quotes
needs
if
to-
you want, or you can tell me I need to do it, but that's up to you guys. I certainly would have to put off some things and for our guys to do it, but and I can get a quote, I'm sure, from somebody.
I do think that if a deal was made, that deal has to be fulfilled.
I'm not sure that deal was made though, Eli. I think that was, Charlie had never mentioned that to me ever about picking those up. Does that letter actually say that a deal was made or?
well, I read it to you. I read exactly what it said. It was a letter to Charlie Smith. And it says, this letter establishes my awareness of the repaving. It says, I support the town, whatever. And it said that they wanted the bricks
that he
placed and wrapped on pallets at no cost to me. I will have the pallets of my bricks then moved to another location.
Well, isn't that him asking, or is that Charlie saying that he sent a letter back saying that we would do that?
You don't know.
We
We
don't know.
Well, it's up to you. You guys tell me what you want me to do and
I
I'll.
mean, what does a pallet of bricks cost?
Yeah, what's the cost? Can we
Of
just get a
to
pallet
buy
of
new
brick and
pallet of
rip
bricks?
those
I
up?
mean, I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
naive in that, but I mean, because when I look at, by the time
'Cause that
somebody
seems
picks
like
them
a
up,
lot of work.
they're gonna wanna
if we
dig
can
them
get a
up. and do
pallet
all
I,
that.
Of bricks
I
somewhere.
can imagine it.
it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work to pull those things up, to keep them in the condition
Right, so. if
that
we
they
found a-
are unless they were very special bricks and
They didn't
not,
look it.
and not just, they may,
Rob's right, it would probably be cheaper to
To
buy
buy a
him
pallet
two
of
pallets of bricks
Yeah.
if that's what he.
yes, Bob.
I just want to make the comment that those bricks have been in the ground for over 30 years. There's not going to be an easy way to get those bricks up without spending a lot of manpower.
That's right.
And they're going to be very brittle because they've been in the ground for so long.
I agree with you, Bob.
Making
I
that,
think that we should, I think that contacting Mr. Ray and after we find out how much a couple of pallets of bricks cost,
Mhm.
that might be the cheapest way out of this thing.
might be
Used
the
bricks,
way out of it.
used bricks, Eli.
Maybe, we're saying 2 pallets, we don't know that it's not.
It could be
pallet and a
2,
half.
it could be 4 pallets.
Right.
It is something that we would have to estimate the square footage and get something done.
$831 for a pallet.
Okay. At Home Depot or
Mhm.
whatever. 800. That's a pallet, that's 240 pieces, 53 square feet. So,
So
yeah,
that's
get a
more than
measurement.
enough, right?
Documented.
Okay,
How long is that? Sidewalk.
40
So-
feet,
50, 40, 50
Okay.
feet.
60,
But
Because
square
this was-
foot, you're talking 50.
I think it's
150 feet?
Well, as long as these didn't come from his
This
grandmother's
is
house
240.
that he hand
Yeah.
took down himself.
Well, see, this is what I was just gonna say. Those are all used bricks. Those are not paver bricks.
Right.
But does that make them special?
Not to me.
okay, so
Well,
at
the
least we have,
Timing is of the essence. We have
Yeah,
I'm gonna say to the first week in June, maybe they'll be up, no, they'll be up there before then.
Okay,
I'm gonna say next week. We have probably make a decision by next week. If
Oh,
Well, I think it's obvious that we're gonna have to remove them one way or another.
mhm,
So therefore, I would suggest that we do, but you make that decision or whatever, the easiest way to do that. Handle them as carefully as you can. I'm not gonna use the word dispose of them, but put them someplace that they can be gone over and palletized at a later date.
well, right now, GMI is planning on pulling them out the skid steer.
I would assume that. Which
It's going to destroy at least half of it.
half of them,
Fran,
mhm.
let's see if Mr. Ray would be amenable to getting an equal number of
Okay.
bricks from
Home Depot.
another
Yeah.
vendor.
Yeah.
And that'll establish too, if there's any sentimental value to
Right,
him with those
okay,
bricks.
right.
Yes,
You know, once you establish that, there's not, I can't see, he's a businessman.
Mhm,
Yeah, give me some bricks.
mhm.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
Mhm.
thank you.
Phone, internet upgrades, First Light.
Okay, we've had a lot of complaints about the phone system. Apparently, we have more capability than we know how to use. But anyway, I called First Light, who is our current provider, to Eli, and I actually had a WebEx with them to find out about the system. And I sent you this letter from John Radigan, that he is actually able to upgrade our phone system, new phones at a savings, less than what we're currently paying now. He says he can reduce our bill from $399.40 to $376, a savings of approximately $24 a month with a 36-month renewal. And that includes new phones, okay? The only thing it doesn't include is this routing system. For some people, we may want to be able to route the phones to their personal
Their cell
cell
phones.
phone to conduct business.
To
when they're
roll
out of the
over.
office, to roll over. You know, that we can do for $6 a month per user. And you can decide if anybody needs that. But he also was looking at our internet, and he said, we currently have 30 Mbps fiber internet at $432, and there's an opportunity to save large amount on this if you upgrade to a higher speed. And here are some options. If the 30 is at $268, I don't know why we're paying $432, but you can upgrade it all the way to 100 Mbps for $448 at 36-month renewal price. So it probably will behoove the board to certainly take advantage of some of these options. And, they will come in and they will train people on how to use the phone, voicemail and everything else that we're not using appropriately.
Now, do we have to also talk to CCS about what they feel our needs are for upload speed?
We can certainly do that. I did not do that, but we can certainly do that.
Because I have 100.
30 seems pretty small.
Well,
It's non-existent.
30 will do if you have one or two.
Yeah, and we got lots more than that in the
And
town hall.
you've got right now, all of finance.
Mhm.
You've got the one on your desk. I'm not sure how the police are getting their internet,
Mhm.
but if you look at the 100, that would come closer to making sure we had stable connections.
And only
Because
slightly more than we're paying now
Now-
for 30.
because right now I've been getting messages from here
Mhm.
that the internet is unstable.
Yeah.
And I'm using I'm using it to about its full. We have had 30 MPS the other day,
Mhm.
and that's barely enough
Yep.
to keep this.
Right. So all it requires to do this is to, get a 36-month renewal. Would be committed for 36 months.
Frank, is it expandable beyond the walls of the town office?
That I don't know, Craig.
Bob?
Yes, thank you. As we are going forward, we're doing a lot more with cloud-based operations. We need a higher
Yeah.
speed of internet, no doubt. I mean, you got the new smart locks going in, you've got this new electrical system you're considering. Your 100 megabits per second is just, today I would call it basic. We're running 100 megabits here at the house and I get locked up time to time. It's just one computer. So, I mean, 30 megabits is nowhere near enough for professional use.
That's right.
True.
I mean, I'd go with 100 megabits. At that price. That might even, depend upon when people use things, be enough to cover the police department.
Mhm.
But I think they probably are going to want their own so that they're on a separate circuit.
Wasn't the
Will
PD
is,
on there?
should be on
Yeah.
the, Will,
APD,
Yep.
you
Gotta
there,
be honest
Will?
with you. Yep, I'm here. I gotta be honest with you, I'm not really sure where ours comes from. Charlie and I had talked before about the internet coming into the building. And he told me that we had fiber coming in and that it was to the town hall. And I think we were piggybacked off of the town hall. We've been having lots of problems whenever we try to Zoom in for court processes or other hearings. We have the same stability issues that you're talking about right now, Eli, over at the PD. So I have to assume that we're not on anything different.
Okay, I would think that we need to go back to First Light if we're gonna have the police department on and check for even higher capacity.
okay.
How does that sound, Will?
Let's see if they go any further, because like you guys.
It'd be
are-
nice to alleviate the stability problems for sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
But we should look, to Ann's saying, is that we do need to look at the internet town-wide.
Yep.
Instead of department-wide.
Piecework.
And you pay $800 a year, $1,200 a year. Craig, how much do you spend?
$1,200 a year plus my phone. I have a phone bill too.
Okay.
Mhm.
There's $2,000 there. Water and sewer pays
Probably the same.
$800 a year. AED
Same thing.
probably can pay or would be paying in the same range. And I know that the fire department pays somewhere in the $800 range.
All right, so we'll have a look at all the
Oh, yeah,
buildings.
the treatment plant too.
And, well, yeah, that's,
Okay.
Fran, was there any restrictions on, were they talking about, ratcheting it down or restrictions?
He didn't say anything about that.
I mean, if we are going to pay I mean, that's, indeed, it's going to be $500 a month per department. If we can get a better price. Because this isn't First Light fiber optic.
They put that in.
So.
Yeah.
They may be able to carry fiber optic to other points in town.
Absolutely.
And that's infrastructure improvement, which is covered by, well, some say COVID, I'm going to say other, there are other means of getting
There might be
These funds.
funding available.
There's a
Yeah.
broadband, there is a broadband bill
Yes.
that's out for
Yes.
small towns.
Yes, there is.
and we qualify.
Yep.
So we might as well look at a bigger picture.
Mhm. Well, I will get more information for the next, but are you saying you want to definitely go ahead with the phones at least at this point?
We have people calling that run into bottlenecks,
Mhm,
and they shouldn't.
mhm.
If we had, while I do not like calling a number and getting a robo voice, I think it would be best for us so that people get to the right departments.
Exactly. What happens now is they'll call the town hall and who's ever available answers it.
Right.
If you had an automated attendant and you want to speak to so-and-so, press 1, it would be a lot more efficient.
I would think so.
Okay.
And it would also, with a bit of training, even I could learn how to shift somebody
know
over to
there's a-
another line.
There's a big issue upstairs. with the
Yes.
Land use folks, because they can't get the calls and they can't get their voicemail. So it's a problem. We need to straighten.
It
out.
is something that we need to do in that building.
Mhm.
And I think that if we are going to look at that building, we also need to look at the police department, at least to start with.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys don't even, there's no voicemail, right?
They say there is,
There-
but
But right now,
nobody
if I
knows how
call,
to
I
use it.
can't leave a message
No,
for anyone.
no.
Well,
There have
that's
been,
right.
there have been
That's
times in the past when I have left messages, but
Oh.
I'm not sure that people really know how to use it.
No,
Uh,
I don't think it's very easy to.
No, it's not easy. It's not user friendly.
Everybody used to have, at one time, 20 years ago, used to have their own code
Mhm.
to get their messages.
Mhm.
But the books went away and nobody remembers how to do it.
That's the problem. Okay, well.
Google it.
So is this a consensus? You want me to go ahead and?
I would think that we want
Okay,
to upgrade at least the phone system in the office first
okay,
and then work our way out.
with the 36-month renewal.
Yeah.
And what about the mobile communicators? Do you want at least one for the town manager?
And-
Is that been forwarded?
Yeah.
The Ford. yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
quote you on that, Fred?
I don't-
I would like to, I obviously would like to see at least one for DPW, one, one for water and sewer, one for AED, one for fire, one for the police. I want to make sure that people are able to get in contact with
That's
people when they need
$6
to.
per month per user, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, Fran, and
Yes.
what may be a savings that can be explored is getting pretty expensive when the on-call agency that they use down in Concord, who isn't that great when I was there.
uh-huh,
If that's the case and it can be called forward, that may be for the on-call guy, which you can eliminate that service, which is not that good.
uh-huh,
But just the thought, so that $6 may be a huge savings,
okay,
so.
okay, good to know. All right,
I don't know, it says call center.
Yeah, no,
Bill,
I remember the name exactly. Yeah, but they're not very
it
good.
says call
Center. Yeah, yeah,
center.
nor is there a Senate. Yeah, that's the problem.
Do we, is a consensus fine with this, or do you want a roll call vote?
I think we all agreed by consensus.
Okay,
Bob?
Yes, I agree.
okay,
okay. Moving on. Get back to here. vendor permit for a food truck at the ballpark.
I can just speak about that. There's a gentleman that called and wants to bring a food truck down on Sundays when they have the co-ed softball
Yeah,
league while they're down there, because they have like 3 or 4 games a day,
okay,
and he wants to sell there. He called and got the information, and it's $50 for the permit. His question was, is it $50 for the season, or does he have to pay $50 every Sunday?
it's a
Supposed to be
good
for a
question.
year.
What?
Supposed to be for a year.
Well, if we go and look at the vendor permit, it says that there are only 2 spots for a vendor. If it's on time, if it's anywhere else, it's $300.
There's two spots. What are the 2 spots?
One by Memorial Park and the other is over on what, Pleasant,
Behind police parking,
behind police parking on Pleasant.
nowhere near the ball field.
I was gonna say.
And I don't think that's
Probably not
close enough.
helpful. No,
Um, I think it's something that the last time we dealt with a food truck on private property was the Sharps last year, and we only charged them $50, I think. I'm trying to,
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that is correct.
I think so too.
I'm trying to remember.
No, I think it was for the season.
Yes.
And he had a specific time that he was going to be there for a particular duration.
Yeah.
As I have no problem if we go in with $50. As long as everything is filled out to our satisfaction.
yep, he has insurance. He knows he has
Well,
to get all the
you know,
P and have to check them out.
You know, we're going to have to, we as a board or Mr. Welch or Ms. Newton are going to have to review it
Mhm.
and make sure that he is compliant.
He just wanted to know before he started the ball rolling and filled out the paperwork, if it was a one, if it was something he was gonna have to keep on doing, because then it probably wouldn't be worth it to him if it was
Okay.
$50 every Sunday.
Mr. Letourneau,
Thank you. I think we should probably use the same data that we use for the 4th of July. Have the person provide us with a copy of his insurance and identify the town or anything and charge him $50.
Yes.
Let him sell his hot dogs.
yeah. So,
Can I just throw a little wrench into that now? Because
you're very good at
the
that.
Baptist church came to me today,
Yes,
and they want to use the ballpark on Sundays like they did before. And I told them, we don't reserve it, first come, first serve. For them to do their ceremonies, they would do it on the ice rink part, where it's paved.
yeah,
But their thing is, if they're allowed to do that, they want to do a free cookout each Sunday for anybody who wants to come, which is the same day that softball's there. So I don't know if this vendor would make a lot of money if the church is doing. Not that that's anything, but is that something that we're okay with the church being able to do?
I think the church would have people that they know go there, and the vendor would have people he knows go there.
It goes
Different
beyond that.
events.
Would they go both ways?
Are you allowed to have cookouts in the ball field? Like if I was a private resident and wanted to bring a whole group of family down and have a cookout, could I do that?
no,
What's the
Yeah.
difference?
Right.
control.
So no,
No,
I don't,
you only heard from one person.
I know what,
And if the church was going to follow the same logic as we do have for vendors,
Mhm.
they would have to supply us with all of the information that a vendor would normally supply for us. The competition,
the difference is theirs is free. I'm just
Uh,
playing devil's advocate.
that
I
No,
don't
you
care
have
either
to.
way.
that's fine. I'm curious about parking now.
In the past, they've had to park Freudenberg on the other side down by
And
where
Freudenberg allows that.
they have no workers there that day, so they don't mind. Down, because they go down by where Plymouth Stitching used to be, because
Yes.
there's a walkway and the
There's a
fence right
Yeah.
there.
Who else would like to?
Hmm?
It's not posted either. Doesn't even say no parking. no
Nope.
nothing.
Doesn't say you can't have.
You don't have to pull it.
No, it doesn't say anything about the.
No.
I'm just,
But
The
it
thing
is
that-
private property, but that's,
Yes,
another-
but the thing that could happen, if you do it for one, you kind of.
You have to do it for all.
Everybody,
so
so. And I don't want to be discriminating against the others that might want to show up, but it could be a problem.
I think it boils down to the fact that if we can't go down there and have a cookout, then why should they be able to go down and have a cookout? A vendor's a different thing. The vendor's
Yes,
there
it
to
is.
make money. He's paying money to make money. In my opinion, the answer is no.
It wasn't too long ago, there was, and I think I might have even taken a cookout or a barbecue grill out.
a pit thing,
Yeah.
like what was at the
So
beach was
it-
there.
Just because it was rotted, there's no rules against
Right.
cookouts that I can remember anywhere written down. You guys have it? I don't think there's a rule that you said you can't have. a
Well,
cookout.
once upon a time, you could cook in the pines. And there were picnic tables, I mean,
Right.
All right, so I'm gonna go down this weekend and have a cookout. Who's gonna tell me I can't?
What time?
Well, we can do that if we get a permit.
okay.
um,
If we treat them like a vendor, because nobody else can use that area. They want to have a cookout there. They have, I still think if we say that it's okay, they have to supply all the information that a normal vendor would have to supply. And have the same assurances that a vendor would have. As to,
I mean, I have told them I'm not reserving that area for them.
Yeah.
You know, because first come, first serve. So if kids are flying kites over there, they know that they're not able to tell the kids to leave or whatever. Because that's what was decided before. They can be there, but we're not saving the area for them.
Just like the grills over the beach. You have two grills over the beach that are
Right.
usable. You know, it's the same thing.
I think Eli's 100% right. They're an established entity. It's a church. They're
Mhm.
established. So they are like a vendor. And they're wanting to hold the function. I think he's 100% right.
I do too.
Yeah, just-
So it would be the $50 and he can do it every week? As long as the paperwork and everything comes in.
Insurance.
Yep.
I don't think it's necessary to charge them, but they have to follow all of the above as a vendor would.
Oh.
I mean, but
do we charge the softball people for use of the,
Field, no.
okay. So, I mean, it's a group that wants to use it. As long as they have insurance. And
Identify the town,
we are. Yep, Bob?
identify the town.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have no problem.
Exactly. I agree.
Now, consensus or roll call vote,
Consensus.
Consensus is fine.
Yeah, consensus is fine.
okay? And the consensus is yes, I believe.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to bring up that we don't know about so that we can get upset?
One more.
What?
They, no, when the church also asked me, they want to do a baptism at the beach on June 13th. The beach is not going to be open. They don't need bathrooms or anything. It's just from 11:30 to 12. I don't have a problem with it.
I gotta dunk them in the lake, are they?
Yeah, that's my guess.
Hold their heads underwater.
Yep,
What date, June 13th?
June 13th,
From what time?
11:30 to 12.
And once again, as long as they indemnify us,
They have to write something up for that.
I am of that mind that if they are going to use our property, we must be held blameless.
Well, the signs over there say no lifeguards on duty, so
I'm just-
swim at your own risk. So wouldn't that qualify for that? Dunk at your own risk? I don't know.
Duck at your own risk. You gotta change the sign.
I would rather have it in writing.
Definitely.
Is that what the whole board wants?
I gotta admit,
I-
guys, once again is right, because it's an established gathering of a large group. And that's where, I think that's where the cover, why it needs to be covered, because it is a Pacific large gathering.
That we're allowing them to use.
That's
It's
right.
not like they're at their own risk.
Right.
People go
Like
in
5
there on
people
their
go.
own. But we're
But if they
giving,
didn't
we're
ask me,
giving
then they'd
them
be fine.
permission.
If they didn't ask, then they'd been fine.
Right,
They could be removed, they could be removed. It's our property
Right.
and the beach is closed.
It is closed. It's not, it's unlocked. I mean, people go over there and they go fishing.
If your front door is unlocked, it means that I can walk in, right? And you won't, dogs like, yes.
I mean, just tell me what you want me to do.
I would rather something be a bit more formal. And I would like to have the town indemnified.
Is a letter fine? Or, I mean, it's not like we have something printed up like a vendor
A
permit.
letter works.
Don't we have something from the 4th of July committee?
Not for baptism.
That's much more formal.
It-
Perhaps we should look into a use form. Just what we need is more paperwork.
Right, I mean, what we're
We don't
dealing
have
here,
time
the
to
issue
develop
is
one in the meantime, but-
individuals versus groups,
Yes,
okay?
absolutely.
So not a letter now, or yes, a letter?
I think a letter is, once again, it's my
Right.
point of view that they write something and show that they have insurance that will cover any issue.
Everybody else?
Consensus?
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Okay. Ann, you're asking, but I'll allow you.
I think I shouldn't vote because it's
Well.
my department.
Uh,
A little close to home.
Indeed it is. But I love putting you on the spot about this.
I would say, let them do it.
Okay, Alan?
And I'm gonna be the same way on this one. I just-
So it's 3-2. Bob?
Yep. I'm good.
Let them do it or a letter?
I want a letter.
That's a letter.
There it
Okay,
is.
that's 3-2, works for me.
Okay,
Need to protect the town. That's our job.
that's the only thing that I want to do. I'm not against them doing it.
Mhm.
I just want recognition that if something happens, they're responsible for it.
Basically a large gathering commission permit.
Yeah.
Basically what it is at no charge.
Okay. Next on our list is Ashland Historical Society Whipple House roof. Mr. Rule has unmasked himself.
All right. If you can hear me. We've
Yes.
been getting estimates for redoing part of the roof of the Whipple House, and they're running in the $14,000 to $15,000 range at this time. Partly that's because of the increase in prices, which are very volatile, as you know, for building materials. And the roofers are telling us we should put down a layer of plywood over the roofing boards we have now, the old roofing boards, before we
Yeah.
do a shingle roof. So it really drives the price up. We have probably at least $4,000 at hand, for $2,000 from the town and $2,000 from a recent gift to the Whipple House. So that leaves us short, maybe $10,000. So we're looking at a couple of grant opportunities. The first is a Moose Plate grant, which would be this summer, is essentially when they would decide to give that. And it just so happens that the maximum amount you can ask for is $10,000. So Sue Harville is working on an application for us. So if we get that or part of it, the last time we did a Moose Plate grant, we asked for 10,000 and got 4,800, almost 4,900. So we're not guaranteed getting the whole thing. But if we do, we'll essentially would be able to pay for it. If that doesn't come through, if it's only a partial grant, then we have another grant opportunity with the DAR. That would be at the end of the year, was the filing period, which is going to be a 50% match. That is, we would have to put up 50% of the money, and they would put up the other 50%. So, and we have to have that 50% in hand at the time we make the grant application. So we'd have to have something like $7,000 in hand at that time. So we don't know if we're going to get that what we might get from the Moose Plate grant. Maybe it would be enough to cover the DAR grant, or we might have to look around for some money elsewhere. One of the possibilities, of course, being the town buildings capital reserve fund, but we're a long way from that. But we just, at this point, what we're asking for is the town's selectmen's approval of the Moose Plate grant, because some town official, since it's a town building, is going to have to sign that document saying it's okay to go ahead, that it's allowable to do that work. And actually, we'd kind of like a letter of support from the selectmen too, would be useful in getting the Moose Plate grant. So that's where we are right now. If we're wondering if you could vote to authorize the Moose Plate grant at this point.
Any comments on it from our side?
I think it's a great idea.
I'll accept a motion.
I'll make the motion. That we-
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Bob Letourneau,
Aye.
Ann Barney,
Aye.
Andy Fitch,
Aye.
Fred, Alan Silly,
Aye.
Eli Badger says aye.
Okay.
You've got that done.
Okay. So at some point, I don't know who it's going to be, whether you was, the last time we did it, the chairman of the board signed for the town, but I don't know if we'll work, how it works with the town manager form of government or not, but if somebody, the appropriate person can sign it.
Somebody will sign for it, David.
Okay, good, that's it. Okay, well, thank you.
Anything else?
We should put together a letter of support for them also.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Next topic is electric department questions. We have had a consumer send us some questions that he or she would like answers to. So what is the current situation on customer bills being sent and promptly and accurately? Let me see. Bills being sent out promptly and accurately. Have we had any feedback
Okay,
from?
I sent all those questions to a variety of people
Yes.
for responses, and I got back responses from Catherine Davis, our former finance
Yeah.
officer, and from Craig Moore. I can read you what the responses are that we have, if you would like.
We need to start there.
Okay, so for that first question, as of May 1st, we have a new utility customer service representative who's dedicated specifically to utility cash receipts. The utility clerk is now focusing on utility building and customer maintenance. Due to the backlog, we anticipate it'll take some time to catch the billing up to the time frame in which we're able to send bills out each month. We anticipate to see some improvement on the date that the bills are mailed out. The key to the bills being accurate lies within when your payment is received. Payments received after the 10th of the month are not reflected on your bill. If your payment was received after the 10th of the month, please simply subtract your payment to arrive at your current bill amount. So that was the response. I
Okay,
got for
there's-
that one.
Second question, are payments deposited and recorded to customer balance on the day of receipt?
Not currently. We have 2,200 customers, so this is not always feasible during times of heavy collection.
Do we have a target date of when they will be, when that function will be fulfilled?
Depends on a lot of things. I mean, like she said, we have a new utility clerk.
Yeah.
Things we're catching up. I can't give you a date.
Okay.
Where are we now?
Will- Bob wants to know where we are now.
I do not know.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just answering the questions for the utility clerk. I don't have any more data than that.
Bob, I think I talked to Ann today. They are just about caught up with the electric stuff. I think they have maybe a day or two to be caught up. The water bills are going out tomorrow, and they have all the data for the electric meters without data entry today. So it has all been uploaded into our billing software, which normally would have taken another 2 to 3 weeks to do. So we should be in pretty good shape after this month.
Thank you, Craig. That was very helpful.
Thank you, Craig. Will all bills be reconciled before rate increase?
The response I got was, please see aforementioned information above. Your bill will reflect any payments received by the 10th of the month when the cutoff payment received dates to coincide with the meter read dates. So again, it's just, the rate increase was June 1st.
Yes.
So yes.
So Eli, just to add a little bit, so everybody out there that, I don't know, there's a lot of people on, because of all the data entry with you heard David say, every meter has to be read manually.
Yes.
So what we did with these, so our guys are reading doing the manual reading. That means Ann and Diane are gonna have a whole lot of time to do that reconciliation, to post those bills, to put everybody's check in the system, to make sure when the bills get in and it'll show people have paid. So they will, after this month, I think we're gonna be on track.
Okay,
Keep your fingers crossed, but
Okay.
right now it looks good.
okay. Do we have complete and audited financial statements for 2021? And the answer is no.
No, our calendar year runs through December, and therefore we're not through the fiscal year yet. We're in the midst of our 2020 audit
It is being done as we speak.
as we speak.
What is the current situation on asset management and long-term capital needs plan?
Work in progress. I mean, we had a presentation tonight by Eaton. Some decisions need to be made.
And, you know, that will handle the utilities.
Yep,
And one of the things that we do have to start working on would be one for the rest of the town.
absolutely. I've had conversations with the department heads. Fred Welch, who was visiting us tonight, who is our new town manager, had expressed his strong opinions about capital plans, that we need to do a much better job. So this is a work in progress.
Okay. What is the plan to bring in qualified management to address issues in the short term and long term?
This boils down to money. We need to offer higher wages. And this is a problem we hear all the time.
Well,
We don't pay wages like some of our competitors do, and we have trouble getting people.
when I was talking to somebody the other day, and for a linesman, we pay like $25, and Eversource is almost 50.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit difficult to get people to stay. We have been able to train them, not for the last few months, but hopefully,
Eli, our last qualified linesman that left, I believe we were paying $35 or $37 an hour.
no,
That's it, not even 45. And then he left to make like $55 or $60 an hour.
there it is.
And our third year guy left, we were paying him about $25 an hour.
He's making 30 now.
He's making 39 as a third
After they
year.
tested.
So it's just, we're almost there, but we need to just step it up a little bit.
So, I mean, we have one person right now,
A second year, we have
two,
with
one's not
one's
available.
deployed and a second year apprentice.
Okay,
And he's making like 23.
and we have advertised,
Yes,
and the one or two that I saw, they had no training, and that's what they were looking for.
exactly.
They want to be trained.
They need to be trained.
Right.
Okay. We have a unique asset in our utilities that can and should be a great asset to town growth.
And I think we all agree with that.
Uh,
We just need to address the shortcomings to really use this asset to our advantage.
Our utilities in a lot of ways are unique to Ashland. And it's time that we look at them and let them work out. We need to use what we have, and maybe we can get more business in town.
We need to assign the value that they hold
Yeah.
to the town. Exactly.
And that's takes care of part of it anyway.
Mhm.
update on ARPA funding.
Mhm. You said you wanted that on the agenda. Diane attended one of the online seminars for this rescue plan funding that's coming. And where's the letter from her? So what she is hearing is that we'll be receiving roughly 200,000, in which the first half could be received this month. The second will be sent a year from now. We need to be thinking, and I've said this to the department heads, again, we need planning, because when the money's available, we need to know what we can spend it on and what we need to spend it on. As I said before, I got a question from LRPC asking about shovel-ready projects. You know, if you're not going to be able to get these funds if you don't have any plans for the funds. So I've put everybody on alert, keep it on your radar. But if we've got this money coming, we need to know what it's good for, what we can use it for, whether it's broadband or whatever, and be ready to spend the money. I mean, this could be really good for the town. She said in reading the information provided below, and I did look at the links too, building modification, expansion, air systems seem to be eligible expenditures. We need a lot more information, a lot more details, but I would suggest that you all dig into this and keep your eyes on this funding and what we can use it for.
And LRPC has been asking what other large projects we might have.
I sent them the Thompson Street project,
yes.
Which we had a price for. And then I also sent them, I didn't send them the details, but I told them we have a plan for the town hall redesign. And we also have plans to refit the utility building for the police department. We don't have prices for those two things, but those come as close as we have to shovel-ready projects.
What about the heating system? Because I thought that that funding actually went in for like high efficiency heating systems, like at the town hall needs a new one, which I think that would cover that.
It would.
That's what I'm saying is we need to really dig into this and find out what we can use it for. There's some things that we can't, but when we have needs and they address them, we should be able to.
There's that. And as LRPC was asking about if we were going to take advantage of the rural development funds that are available. And my cohort to the left likes to quote how much infrastructure we need. And there are programs out there with RDA for about 5 million.
Yeah.
We just have to ask the proper way. Something fun. Safety inspection of town buildings.
Yes, that's happening on Thursday. So somebody's going to come and they're going to do inspection of all the town buildings. I talked to the library folks because they wanted to have somebody there.
Yeah.
Craig can escort them around town. You have keys to all the buildings, Craig?
Yes, I do.
Okay, somebody needs
He
to.
walks funny when he.
Somebody needs to
will.
escort them around town.
I suppose I will do that. Yes.
Mardine Badger said she would be at the library, so they requested that they could be the first building. So because somebody would be there. She has a key to the building, but you have a key too. But they wanted, the library specifically asked if somebody from the library could be there. But yeah, so anyway, that's happening on Thursday.
I will request that we go there first.
Thank you. They should come to the town hall about 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
So now we go to old business. And the first thing that we have under old business is P card.
Yes. We had a presentation at a prior meeting. At the time, the board said we should get Fred's input on it. He looked at it, thought it was ultimately a good idea. So that's where we are. You need to decide if you want to make this happen or not.
just a little. For those who hadn't tuned in last time,
Mhm.
basically, how does it work?
It's
So I'm
like-
putting you on.
Thank you. I really wasn't prepared to do this.
I
It's
know.
Replacing the debit card and the credit card. It's a way of paying all of your bills. It's a much more secure system.
Of the town paying.
The town paying
Bills.
all of its vendors. It's
Yes.
free. There are no fees. Depending upon the level of spending, you could be getting rebates. And there are cutoff points. If you spend at least $100,000, which we could easily do if we paid VEPSA, then you start getting a certain percentage back.
Yep.
So it doesn't sound to me like there's any downside, but that's just my opinion.
And the people that, towns that use it seem to be happy with it.
Yes.
But there
Do I
wasn't
hear a
a
motion?
lot of New Hampshire towns that were using it, Eli. There was only one or two,
Yeah,
and they would just basically just set up this share, so there's no real data there.
there's no real data totally available, but they might, seem to be happy.
I think it's a real credit card and there was no
Yes.
obligation. I think
That's
Rob-
right,
Without signing.
It-
Rob uses one right now through the
Okay.
Eversource.
Okay,
It's just it's a regular
We
credit
don't
card
lock
and there was
in
no
Yeah.
cancellation fee or anything.
right, right.
when I heard it.
And you can assign different levels of,
That's right.
to individuals,
It
yeah.
could be different authorities,
And,
different
and
things.
it's much
Even
more
not even
secure.
product.
It
Uh,
eliminates a lot of fraud potential, and we have had fraud, right, Ann? We've had some fraud with the credit card, debit cards.
Yes, Bob?
How is the company accessing the Ashland bank accounts? It's the question I never got answered, and I didn't see it in the presentation. I also didn't see it in the,
They
We have
don't.
money deposited with
Finance
Yeah.
them.
process is
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
any other credit card.
Right. They have their own bank that they use, so,
so do we
I
have
don't-
to, we have to join their bank? Is that what the deal is?
oh, no, that's just the processing bank. It's not, we're not joining that
We
bank.
pay them through a processing bank.
Yeah,
Okay,
We just have to make sure the funds are there every month to pay the bill.
that's right.
That's it.
Right.
What in most of
Mhm.
So I'll make a motion that we switch to the P card, getting rid of our debit and credit cards.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Bob Letourneau.
I'm gonna hold off a minute. Let's see what everybody else thinks here. I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Ann Barney,
Aye.
Alan Silly,
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Fitch.
Aye.
Have you thought long enough, Bob?
Yep, I sure have. I'm not sure I like it. I'm gonna say nay.
Okay. Eli Badgers votes in the positive. Motion carries. Town of Ashland purchasing policy.
Now, Catherine had written up one earlier and
Yeah.
presented it to you. Again, you wanted Mr. Welch's input. He sent us another option for purchasing policy. I asked Catherine to compare the two and incorporate anything from the one he sent to us that we should have, and to see if there's anything in the one he had that, we should have, or
Yeah,
but anyway, the one that I sent you was the culmination of that effort. So it's slightly modified from the earlier one you got. Fred said basically he was okay with whatever we decided. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
so as we hurry and scramble and look at it,
A lot of the things, I mean, she incorporated some of the comments that you had made that you wanted originally,
Yeah.
the original one. So But I think all of the levels that you had agreed on are in this one.
Have you all refreshed?
I'll make a motion that we accept this purchasing policy.
Do I hear a second? I will. Somebody wants back in. I will second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Bob Laterno,
Aye.
Ann Barney,
Aye.
Andy Fitch,
Aye.
Alan Silly,
Aye.
Eli Badger says aye. Update on costs for new security system locks for the town hall.
Craig, you want to talk about that?
Oh, I don't know. Well, yeah, I can give you an update that I don't have it in front of me, but we were mistaken on the door, the cost of each door. Will, you don't remember that, do you? Is he still on, I think?
Yeah,
It's-
APD is
it
there.
Turns out it's $1,100 per door, not 72, where we were reading the quote wrong.
Right,
There's a lot more, and the reason for that is, like, I think it was 72 or $92 was just for the strike plate to open the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't for the card reader that goes on the outside, and then you have to put a new bolt on the door to make it move back and forth. So we either wasn't in the quote or we misread it. So that's,
well, I think they gave us a quote for one door, and when we talked about doing 4 doors,
Right.
it was a little bit different.
yeah, so it went up, God, I don't remember.
Yeah. it's-
Will, is Will on there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yep.
Thank you. I don't know why it wasn't.
I believe the increase was somewhere around $1,100 per door.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, yeah, the total is 8,000.
Oh, yeah, so it went up from $2,400 to $8,300
Because of the doors.
because you wanted to do every single door.
Yeah,
Which I
That's
don't
4
know
doors at the town hall.
if we need all of them, or you just want to do the PD door and the side door for all of us to get in. And so that was including the very front door and
Didn't-
the inner door.
so we didn't do the front door.
The doors.
Well, originally, we thought the quote would cover just the town hall,
Yeah.
but all 4 doors. But there was additional equipment that's needed on that door
That's
to make it work. So,
Okay,
okay, so now if you want to do all 4 doors, it's this price. If you want to do 3 doors, say the
Yeah.
back door, the front door, and the PD, you could cut it down by, what is the price for each door, Craig?
It's about $2,400 a door.
Yeah.
So the total for 4 doors is $8,300.
Right.
yeah.
If you're gonna
No, I was,
build, then you gotta do all the doors.
we have. There's one voice is heard.
Mhm.
Um,
Do you have money to do all the doors?
I think I'd like to put this out to bid. We've got just one bid in front of us. I think I'd like to put this out to bid.
Didn't we just agree with that anyway?
Well, originally you agreed to do just one door,
Right.
but once we went out and got the quote
What
for
are,
all doors.
are there other companies that could do this?
Yeah, I think Will
Yes.
knows of another company that can do it, but they saw the price we got for the original and they said, oh, if they're doing it for that much, they go with them because we can't even touch it.
Okay,
Yeah.
But that was because
yeah,
they were quoting 1 door versus 4.
okay.
okay,
We
so
can-
we'll put,
We can certainly reach out to them and get a quote for all 4 doors
Yeah.
from the other company, from Northeast Security. That's not a problem.
Okay.
yes,
Yeah, because we just agreed to do that in the new policy.
That's what we agreed to do.
Right.
Mm.
So we kind of gotta,
it would be nice if we followed our own rules. Okay, so that's going out to bid.
Okay.
Main Street crosswalk streetlights.
Well, I don't know if all of you had checked your email late this afternoon. Of course, getting information from these vendors, as you guys all know, is very difficult to get this stuff. Anyway, I don't know if you have that, Eli, that you can.
I can't put it up.
Okay, you can't put it up. So the very ornate streetlights are about $11,000 if you want, and it's all because of that. And I think you have that little picture of that acorn, what we call a fixture.
Yep,
That's called an acorn fixture. It's compliant for the streetlights and as far as lumens go, and it has to be on an arm. But just for that light fixture alone, to be out 6 feet into that sidewalk, into the light, is $2,400 for that fixture. The pole is about $3,000 to $4,000.
so our cap, I believe, was 3,500.
Mhm.
Right. So I asked Rob to come visit me this afternoon, and he did. And he stayed all day. He's still here. And we kind of went through some other options. And we can do a less ornate pole that's more industrialized. I would say it's clean lines and
Yeah, it's a direct buried, it'll meet the height requirements. It's a direct buried. It'll be a black pole, so it's aesthetically pleasing, but not over the top decorative, like what you would expect. Because problem is, you go too decorative, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb down there, but if you throw a wood pole down there, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. You're gonna have something that's pleasing. So, where the poles are being located, one just off this set of the sidewalk, and then the one over there at the
Let
end.
me share the screen. I can put up the quotes for you.
So looking at these poles, we could do a nice aluminum spun brushed aluminum, but painted black, so it doesn't stick out. It blends into the environment. It'll have just a regular arm that comes out.
There you go, Bob.
With a black, with the same kind of fixtures that we're putting in all the way down through. The only difference, that fixture will be black. The other problem with the acorn lights is they're not one of a kind, but they'll be one of a kind. There'll be two of them for the town of Ashland. Should we have a problem with them or anything else down the future, we don't have other things to match because a light's been decided what's the best LED for the town to go into the near future.
Holy crap.
So that's kind of another issue that needs to be looked at when you put something specialty like that. You're locked in, and now what do I do when it's down? Because as soon as it's out, because of what they do and the crosswalks, it becomes a liability. So, because there is a time span based on, especially with these state roads and these programs, this isn't like a light that's just over by somebody's house or by the hog. If it's out, there's a lot of lights that are out, they just stay out. This is a difference. These lights are there to meet a standard and a code for life safety.
So what is the cost of this one?
So we're getting a quote back, but my rough estimate stuff, like I told him, it'll run about $3,200.
so I think we should just maybe table it. Rob and I are gonna make provisions to run underground power to these both locations before they pave. They can pave it, and there's a lead time of the lights, just like our meters.
Yeah,
It's, what did he say?
He told me 10 to 12
10
weeks.
to 12 weeks. So
Unbelievable.
we will make it ready. We'll put whatever we need into the ground for power, and the sidewalks will be paved. And we can table it. We can present to you guys at the next meeting what the quotes are and the options for
So
light.
I'll give you a third quote on this one, based on what the quote that's up there now, based on the other quote from the other company, and then this will be another one.
So we have 3 vendors searching for the best, cheapest, most decorative light we can. And we can present that to you guys at the next.
There is such a thing as too fancy.
yes.
That is a really, and I don't know, you can pull up all the pictures. They're pretty nice poles.
Now, if looking at option 2, which is an aluminum pole and arm.
Yep.
That still needs a light fixture.
In a base.
and a base.
I take it our fixtures won't fit on their arm?
Not on this ornate one, it will not.
Okay.
They're coming
No.
up,
Bob?
did it come up?
Yeah, we
Yes.
got it.
Yep.
That'd be option one.
Yeah, one of the options is a concrete pole and one's,
I can bring that up for you, light bulb.
but they do both require bases. They're not direct vary. Rob and I are looking at direct vary ones right now.
It's the
They wouldn't
most
require a base.
economical way to go.
So we wouldn't have to go out and buy a big concrete base to bolt that to it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, when Rob had originally done the quote to the state, I think it was either 14 or 16,
Almost 16,000.
almost $16,000 that were,
Or light bulbs.
we billed the state for that. So we'll be getting
Right.
16
Okay.
minus the 20%
Yeah,
back. So it'll.
So we'll have the money.
We'll have some offset costs.
So when are you gonna have a true cost for us?
Well, I'm still waiting on emails. It's very difficult.
By your next meeting.
My next meeting, I
Yeah,
hope,
the
absolutely.
next meeting will be June 2nd, June 1st.
Yeah.
yeah,
June
I
1st,
hope to have some,
Oh,
I
no.
hope to have something by tonight,
be
Eli.
the following, because June 1st is a Tuesday,
Yeah.
so it'll be the first Monday in
Yeah.
June.
I should be able to,
7.
So,
7, June
Seven.
7.
Yeah,
I just wanted to give you guys an update.
thank you.
We've
Yeah,
got some
thank you, Brad.
information. It's not nailed down to what we want, but I think we can meet the price that you guys originally agreed to.
And that would be the pole, the arm, and the light fixture.
Correct. Would be under the 3,500.
Okay,
Excellent.
But it's not gonna have all that fancy little bridge work and all that. It'll still be a very pleasantly looking pole,
yeah,
you know,
but it's not gonna be ornate, the ornate.
that's right. Which there's nothing else down there that's ornate anyways, other than maybe that colonial looking
Well,
pole.
they're still
that we
gonna
put on
be
the
wood,
top.
it's just gonna be black.
Yeah,
And we'll give you some options too. Next meeting, you can decide how you want to proceed with it.
okay. Are there any select board items?
Don't look at me, I'm not a.
Oh, I'm looking over here. I'm gonna look up there for a minute and over to Alan. Any select board items?
Just one from me.
Okay,
So I had a couple of constituents call and ask about filing a complaint with the town. And I did speak to you earlier today on the phone, Eli.
Yep.
And I went down to the town hall and the form is no longer available. It's not on the website. And I was told to tell the people to write a letter. So
okay.
I think that if we had a form they could fill out with who they were, what the problem was, and submit it, would be very easy for us to deal with it. That's my opinion.
I did talk to the person that ran our, that runs our website.
Mhm.
Charlie did have the form taken down because he felt that we shouldn't be discussing some of the incidents, why people are upset in public.
I'm not
We took the
suggesting
form down at the request of a former board because it was not always being used the way it was intended.
Yes,
And we said at that time, the former board said at that time, we would still deal with customer issues, but they would be dealt with in another way.
Yeah.
These forms, were just sort of submitted and we were expected to read them at meetings. Not every complaint is
rises to
rises to
a,
that level. So we want the information, we want to know what's on people's mind, But I think writing a letter is the most straightforward way to do it. That way, you know, it can be assessed by the board.
What I have found with forms is that generally people who fill in the forms do not want to take credit for them.
Mhm.
Well, you
You
can
know, we.
hear of
put
that,
in an
by simply saying if you don't fill it out, you won't get an answer.
No, everything will be answered, I'm assuming, by the board if it comes in writing.
Well,
Or
either
by
the
board
either
or
board or the town manager.
Or, you know, whomever it's addressed to.
I feel pretty
Yes.
strongly about the people being able to express their feelings, whatever they may
Uh,
be.
They can write a letter.
Some people don't want to write a letter. We can put up a simple form. They have to fill it out with their name and address, and somebody can send them back a response. It doesn't have to be done publicly. And it could be, and if they don't put their name and address in, then they won't get a response. It's that simple. You just give them the warning that if it isn't filled out, it won't be addressed. And we can, and we can explain to people. Some people can't use Zoom. Some people don't want to go to meetings for whatever reason. The people
I understand.
to be heard.
Just as soon as we are having a public meeting with people who can be on Zoom and people who wanted to meet in person this time. I imagine that next time, Bob, you'll be here with us.
You bet I will. I've been wanting to go do this in person for a while.
Well, and that's fine. But we will be opening, as long as we stay within the guidelines, we'll be opening the meetings. I also think we will still be broadcasting through Zoom. Because there are people that they get home, they want to sit down and maybe not go out again, but they can, if they don't watch us that night, they watch us a couple of days later.
Well, Eli, you're
And you're-
moderating
you're
this forum. How many people are
What?
on board with us right now?
Right this minute, I see one,
6. minus
Well-
2.
We had a lot more earlier.
we had more earlier, we were up to about 12. And I know from past, a few years ago, that we would generally get 3 people to come to a meeting who were not
Spouses.
spouses or department heads. This way, it gives everybody a chance to at least hear us. That's what I have to say. Anything else? If I hear nothing, I'm going to ask that infamous question. Mr. Silly, would you like to make a motion?
I will make that motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it because the Bruins are tied right now.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming.